Should you be excited with Tony Pollard as your RB1? Stay tuned to find out. Let's go. Last year, Tony Pollard had a really good year, and what he really made Zeke expendable for the Dallas Cowboys. Let's look at some stats. Last year, he had almost 200 attempts, over 1,000 yards, and 9 touchdowns on the ground, 55 targets, almost 40 receptions, over 300 yards, and 3 tugs through the air. And that was in 16 games. Zeke is gone, but once again, I do think they're going to bring in someone in that backfield just to give touches. They don't want Tony Pollard to be the workhorse. They don't want him to be Zeke. They want him to have 300 carries, 300 opportunities in the season. They brought in Ronald Jones, but I mean, is he even going to make the team? They might bring Zeke back, to be honest with you. They might bring Zeke back on a veteran's minimum deal. We don't know yet. Still early in the offseason, but once again, I do think they're going to add somebody to that backfield just because, once again, Tony Pollard is uber efficient, but he's not. He doesn't have workhorse size. He's not, once again, they don't want him to have 300 carries. They've seen what happened with Zeke. So they want to make Tony Pollard as efficient as possible. They want to make him as efficient as possible. But no matter who they bring in, Tony Pollard is going to be the 1A to the 1B, no matter who it is. The coach has stated in the offseason that they want to run the ball more often. Mike McCarthy said so. He doesn't want Dak throwing the ball 40 times a game. They've seen what Dak does throwing the ball 40 times a game, and they understand that they can't win a championship that way. He's done it his whole career. They don't want Dak carrying the load for that team. So rushing the ball for Tony Pollard is definitely going to be a bonus, but where he excels at is through the air. I like to see the receptions goes up. Once again, he had 55 targets. He had almost 40 receptions. That's probably going to go to close to 100 targets. And he's probably going to have anywhere between 60 to 90 catches this year, which once again puts him in that RB1 discussion. Last year, he finished as the RB8. Right now, he's being drafted as the RB9. It really depends on who Dallas adds. If they add like a Dalvin Cook, a Leonard Fournette, they add Zeke back even, you really got to be careful where you draft Tony Pollard at. Right now, he's really a second-round draft pick, and he has the potential to be a top 12 running back. If they don't add anyone else except for Ronald Jones, pencil him in as an RB1. I still would be iffy on drafting him in the first round. We need to see it, but I do believe that he has the ability to do so. We have to think Tony Pollard as a Austin Eckler like. He hasn't been getting the receptions, but let's look at the efficiency. Almost 200 attempts, let's call it 200 attempts, 1,000 yards rushing, almost double-digit touchdowns. If you do a blind resume between Austin Eckler and Tony Pollard, you could really say that's the same player. And Austin Eckler is going to give you 75 to 90 receptions, another 500 yards, and another 5 or 6 touchdowns through the air. So once again, that's where Tony Pollard should be in the discussion as an Austin Eckler like. Do I trust Austin Eckler's offense and what he's done? We've seen him have 20 touchdowns, almost 20 touchdowns in 2 straight seasons. We haven't seen it from Tony Pollard, but that's where he's going. That's where his ceiling is. His floor is probably still an RB2, not terrible, but once again, we need to see it for a full season. Did we just become best friends? Did Travis Etienne and Trevor Lawrence become the new Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford? Let's find out. Last year, Travis Etienne had a breakout year, and it really started after James Robinson went down. Let's look at the stats. He had 220 rush attempts. He had over 1,100 yards. He had 5 touchdowns through the ground. He had almost 50 targets, almost 40 receptions, and 300 yards through the air. No touchdowns, unfortunately, but those are going to come this year. And that was in 17 games. He played all 17, which people forget. Last year, it wasn't his rookie year, but it essentially was. He got hurt in training camp. He missed the entire season. People forget. So this is really like his rookie year. Trevor Lawrence is just getting started. They got weapons all across the field. James Robinson's gone. You got Calvin Ridley, who's the new alpha in town. You still got Zay Jones. You still got Evan Ingram. You still got Christian Kirk. You got weapons on all areas of the field. Like I said, he missed his entire rookie year, which was year 1. He seems like he's in line for the workhorse role. Now, they did draft Tanks Bigsby, and everyone's worried about, he's the goal line back. Travis Etienne doesn't have the size. Travis Etienne is not a workhorse role. Well, let's look at the stats. After James Robinson left, he became the workhorse role. Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne obviously went to the same college. They have that rapport before they even came to the league. So that was the whole thing in the offseason. They went to college. They don't have to, gel together. They don't have to build rapport. They already had that in college. And we saw that was a factor. 220 rush attempts, over 1,100 yards, and 5 touchdowns is not a bad first year. We would like to see the touchdowns go up, and we would definitely like to see the receptions go up, which once again it will this year, but it definitely wasn't a bad first year in the offense. We also got to remember he has to learn a whole new offense. Not only just to learn the NFL, but he had to learn a whole new offense in the first year, and that's what we got. He was a top 24 running back. He finished last year. He finished as the RB17, and once again, that was really on the heels of half a season. Once James Robinson got traded, that's when he elevated his stats. Very similar to Ken Walker. Once Rashad Penny got traded, he elevated and became a workhorse role. It was the same thing in Travis Etienne. Those guys was on a lot of your fantasy championship teams last year because of their rose to the occasion in the second half of the year. Once again, he finished as the RB17. Right now, he's being drafted as the RB13. So right outside the RB1, I think that, you know, Tank Bixby being drafted and all the training camp hype is really pushing him further and further away from the RB1. But he does have top 5 upside. He's the easy choice for hero RB. For those of you who don't know what hero RB is, I know you know what zero RB is. For those of you who might not know, zero RB is when you really don't draft a running back in the first, let's call it 6 to 7 rounds. You're going to draft positional players like receivers, tight ends, QB. You're going to wait on running back because you want to get the upside of the wide receiver, and you try to find late round value in the running back position. Hero RB is really the same concept, but you're only drafting one running back. So for instance, let's say you draft 5 wide receivers in a row, 4 wide receivers, a quarterback, a tight end, and you draft a running back maybe in the second round. Or even the first round. Let's just say you draft Saquon Barkley in the first round, and then you go, you know, T. Higgins, Calvin Ridley, Jalen Hurts, T.J. Hawkinson, you know, straight. That Travis Etienne is going to be your hero RB. And I think he's the easy choice for that. He does have workhorse role. Once again, does have the top 5 upside. Travis Etienne is an easy candidate for 300 touches, double-digit touchdowns. And where you're drafting him at, once again, as an RB13, you're going to get him most likely in the second round. In some cases, your ADP is going to be the third round, depending on what league setting you play in or who you play with. Travis Etienne will be on a lot of my fantasy teams, and this is why. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. Remember, subscribe to see more content from me and everyone here at Just in Time Media.